Hello, my name is Luke Pearson. Welcome to Create and Play, Hull Truck Theatre's homeschooling drama lessons for children aged 7 to 11. I'm so excited because today we're going to get crafty. Today's session is all about how we can build a character from costume, props and things that we find lying around our house. Before you use anything in your house though, please check with a homeschooler that it is okay to do so. Before anything, we need to get warmed up. The first thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to find a spot somewhere in your room. I'm going to play 30 seconds of music and I'd like you to do some of your best freestyle dancing. Are you ready? Let's go! Hey, you make me a believer, believer. Hey, you make me down, you make me a believer, believer. Hey, let the bullets fly, let them rain. My life, my love, my drive, it came from. Hey, you make me a believer, believer. Nice dancing, everybody. Now we're going to continue our physical warm-up. In a moment, I'm going to count you down from 3 and I'd like you to do some freeze frames. The first freeze frame that I'd like you to do is the pose of a ninja. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, freeze. The second pose I'd like you to do is a cowboy riding a horse. 3, 2, 1, freeze. The third pose I'd like you to do is a queen waving to her people. 3, 2, 1, freeze. And the last pose I'd like you to do is a rock star doing an awesome solo. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, freeze. And relax. Fantastic work, everybody. That concludes our physical warm-up. Now let's do our vocal warm-up. Firstly, I'd like you to imagine you have the big chomping mouth of a horse, chewing down on some hay. Now we're going to imagine we have the much smaller mouth of a hamster that moves very, 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 very quickly. Finally, we're going to imagine we've got the strong, powerful mouth of a shark, chewing down on our tasty dinner. And relax. For the second part of our vocal warm-up, we're going to do today's tongue twister. And today's tongue twister is 4 furious friends fought for the fort. You'll notice in today's tongue twister, there are F sounds and th sounds. So we've got to make sure that we separate both of those. Th and the. They come from different places in our mouths. Here's the tongue twister one more time. 4 furious friends fought for the fort. Pause the video now and have a go at saying that tongue twister. Good work, everybody. That was a tricky tongue twister today, wasn't it? Now let's meet today's guest, Hull Truck's Head of Wardrobe, Sean Thomas. Hi, Sean. How are you doing?
Hiya, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today for Create and Play.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
For our young people that are watching, Sean, that might not know you, can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do?
So at Hull Truck, I am their head of wardrobe. And what this means is that I run the whole wardrobe department, and I'm also very lucky to design for some of the shows as well. So every day, what I normally do is if we're producing a show, I deal with the designers and the actors, and I take everybody's ideas and I make it happen. Basically, I work out who gets on stage, when they get on stage, what they're wearing. I find it all and work out if we're going to hire it or we're going to make it or, you know, buy it. So if you come and see a show at Hull Truck, everything on that stage, I basically found how it goes on stage.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not just saying this. I've seen some of your work and it is amazing. I've loved the costumes and wardrobe that's been put together. How did you kind of get into this line of work, Sean? Like, what led you to wardrobe?
It's so when I was about 11, I watched a TV program about the English Civil War, and inside I was like, I don't know what to do, but I know that I need to work in costume. So from then on, I went to art college. I got a degree in costume design for stage and screen. I used to dress at my local theatre, and I just, surrounded myself with it. And then, I went on. I graduated. I worked for a big hire company in London. Worked abroad, and then slowly made my way to Hull Truck.
Yeah, and here we are.
And here we are.
Can I ask a final question then before we get into like dressing and making some stuff today with our young people? What has been your favourite project that you've worked on?
Oh, that's hard because I've been at Hull Truck for 11 years. But I think the Christmas shows are always the best shows to work on. We have all the young companies sometimes helping out. There's lots of multi-rolling going on, so we always have to think about lots of changes and had to think outside the box when it comes to what we can change in the costumes to make them look differently. And they're just so much. They're just brilliant. They're fun. They're difficult, but they're challenging, but they're also like really rewarding at the end when you see them all on stage.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't have a Christmas show this year in the usual sense. We had Prince Charming's Christmas Cracker, but the one that really stood out to me was my first year at Hull Truck was Peter Pan. Some of those were awesome. Yeah,
and of course they had to go on the ropes. Had to go on the
silks. Yeah, they was flying, weren't they? Yeah.
Nice. So, that was really difficult. That was a whole different problem to solve.
Yeah.
Getting a costume that he could do that with.
Okay, so you had to also not just think about how they look, but how they move and
with the right shoes in order to be able to grab onto the silks, the making sure that the costume fitted properly, but yet had movement in it, so that they could do everything. It was a whole different level, and that's why I love my job.
Yeah, well,
something new all the time, different challenges all the time.
It paid off because they were brilliant. Well, without further ado, let's get stuck in to making some stuff.
Great.
For today's session, we are going to think about costume and how costume props and items that we can find around our house can help us build costumes and characters. Here's Sean sharing some of her best tips. So, Sean, can you tell us about how you have dressed Joshua in this photo to achieve the look of the old person?
An easy way of trying to get a generic old person is to always have some kind of headwear, some kind of neckwear, and then also glasses help. And now I know that not everyone will have glasses at home, but a nice cheat that we also do on the stage when we need to is that we get a kind of a nice cheap pair of sunglasses, not not the expensive ones. And if you pull the edge of it, the sunglasses lens should come out.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and then and obviously if you put them on the end of the nose, they always look quite good as well.
Yeah, I've got loads of those 3D glasses that you used to get at the cinema.
Yeah.
I've got loads of those. So you could also use those as well, couldn't you?
Yeah. If you do have ones with lenses in them, as long as people wear them right at the ends of their noses and don't look through the lenses, that can be achieved that way too.
Nice.
So, and then scarves are good, shawls are good. So a good way of doing it is to tie it not too tight and kind of just make it look like a little like that, rather than how the cool kids wear it these days.
Nice. Yeah, that is actually perfect for the weather that we are currently experiencing, which is snowy,
freezing.
Yeah.
And then there's flat caps are good, but even little beanies and things like that. Another thing you can do at home is also if anyone's got a can of like dry shampoo, and the adults in the house don't mind you using it, then you can also use a bit of a spray in your hair to make you look a bit grey.
Yeah, nice, good tip. As we've said, please check with homeschoolers before using any of this stuff. Cool. So what's next? Then we've got Joshua dressed as a gangster rapper, and Joshua looks so cool. Yeah, it looks so cool, and also is doing a fantastic kind of physical pose,
Yeah.
which shows us the importance of not just what you're wearing, but how you're acting as well. So, how have you achieved that look for Joshua?
So
Sean?
we just got one of his baseball caps. This one's a little bit large for him to start off with, which helps.
Yeah.
I also just found one of his hoodies. You can also do it if you've got like a body warmer with a hood or something like that. Anything that just looks a bit cool. Tracksuit tops also look good with collars up. And then obviously, you just pop the hat on. This is a bit small for me, but you pop it onto the side or to the back. And then I just raided my jewelry box for any bling or, watches, anything you wrap around the neck just to make them look a bit, more gangster.
Yeah, and you had found like the biggest gold chain for Joshua.
Yeah, well, actually, that actually was a belt. Where is it?
Was it really?
Yeah, so it's I don't have much gold jewelry, so it's a belt. So yeah, the bigger the better, I think, if you're gonna, yeah.
Yeah, good tip as well, because I wouldn't have thought that was a belt. So
Yeah.
that just shows you, doesn't it, that we can find little things that we
Anything.
might not think of. Anything
Yeah.
will work. And the last one of my favourites was the pirate. I thought that was totally cool. Joshua looked awesome dressed as a pirate.
Yeah, he got quite into character in quite a few photographs that I didn't put on here. They're quite simple. I dressed him, actually, he's got one of my stripy t-shirts on.
Right.
But you don't have to go that far. Stripy t-shirts work, even just a dark t-shirt or even a white shirt that's a bit oversized can work.
Yeah.
So you pop that on, and then he had a scarf of mine kind of just draped around his waist and then tied to one side.
Yeah.
And then I just got quite a few of my kind of brown belts. There's one there and there's one there, and I used it to go across to make look he's got like a sword holder and loads of just layers and things. Round the head, it's actually a tie. So
is it?
They put the tie on first, and then if you've got a bandana of some kind, I actually by accident did have a pirate one, but you can put that on the head if you want to and tie it like a bandana, or you can go around the neck or that way. When it comes to sailors, actually, there's quite a few different ways you can tie the neckerchief. So can't do it. Whatever you want to do.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's simple. I mean, obviously you can go to town if you wanted to, and you could do some makeup if you wanted and do a little moustache, or if you've got an eye patch at home, or you can make one. Things like that work too. So It's all about belts and layers and scarves and tying bits of fabric around you.
Yeah, an eye patch could be done quite easily then, couldn't it? With like, some string and a black piece of paper, cut into a small circle. And then you've got, like you say, your big white t-shirt, your brown belt, and then your pose and your voice, and you're ready to go.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, if you want to go the whole hog, if you've got a pair of wellies, they can be worn. And if you wanted to raid anyone's jewelry box again, or if you've got anything like that, pirates always like to wear a bit of bling as well.
Yeah. They find their treasure, and they wear it with pride, don't they?
Yeah.
Fantastic, Sean. Thank you so much for those tips on costume.
Thank you.
So now it's your turn. Pause the video and have a rummage around your house to see what you can find. Please make sure you do check with a homeschooler though before using anything in your house. Pause the video now, have a rummage and see what you come up with. Great, now you've got your costumes, let's start to build an identity for our characters. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'd like you to answer these questions as though you are now your character. Pause the video in between each question if you need a little bit longer to think. The first question, what's your name? How old are you? Where are you from? How would you describe yourself? Do you have any special skills or attributes? What do you do in your spare time? Tell me a bit about your family. Do you have any pets? Now you've answered some of those questions, we can begin to think about building our character physically. The first thing I'd like you to do is think about how your character walks and moves. In a moment, I'd like you to walk around your room as though you are now your character. Think about how they move differently from you. Are they taller? Are they shorter? Do they move quicker? Do they move slower? Have a go at this now. Now, finish off building your character by thinking about how they sound. Try and say a few sentences. Is their voice louder than yours or quieter? Is it higher pitch than yours or lower pitch? Have a go at saying a few sentences out loud now. Good work, everybody. Now you have all these things and you've built your character, walk around your house and introduce yourself as your character to the people in the house. Off you go. Here's another task you can have a go at. If you've done all that, you could try and make a wanted poster for your character. You could even draw some of your features and attributes and maybe the costume pieces that you've found. You could write down some of the information about them, about their height and age and what they look like. And maybe you could think of a crime that they've committed and a ransom or a prize. Have a go at that now. Thank you so much, everybody. That concludes today's session. We would love to see some of these costumes that you've come up with, so ask a homeschooler to send a photo to engagement@hulltruck.co.uk. engagement@hulltruck.co.uk. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you next time.